Anybody that couldn't do it, they would just step in and do it themselves. They would never teach them to fish. You're never giving your team the opportunity to grow, and you're never giving yourself the freedom to maybe scale and go to a second
you won't
location.
be able to grow your business.
Exactly. Matt.
What's up? Back in studio.
Back in the studio. What's cracking, dude? How you been?
All kinds of stuff, man. We're just we opened another club today. Number 53. It's up to Jennifer Grenga, Mount Juliet. We signed up 75 people in 8-9 weeks.
Oh, nice. So got to open a wee bit early. Yeah, good for her. That's what you get. That's what you get when you knock it out of the park.
Down the park, kind of like your shirt.
Just win. I don't know. I always think of like Al Davis from the Raiders. Remember him? The old, he would just be, just win, baby. That's what he would say. So that's how I feel. Just win. That's all.
Palm hat on?
Yeah, I don't know. This is a hat I bought. Like you don't want to have a giant head. So these hats are sized. This is an XL and it's a pretty cool hat. I like it. It's like waterproof and all this stuff. I don't know. You know how the hats are. Everything's so specialized these days. And it's the only hat I had, so I grabbed it and ran out of the house. And I'm like I
know. I think there's lots of time to put into that outfit.
I really did about like white
shoes,
kind of white shorts, white shirt, white hat. Like, man, look at me. I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy. All right, you got a dad joke?
I do.
What is it?
How do you make an egg roll?
How?
You push it.
God, dude. That's so bad. I don't think we're supposed to laugh. I think the funny part is the silence, but I can't help it. I laugh before you even say it. Hey, I saw 50 Cent making a sweater.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I said, gee, you knit? Or I said it like, gee, you knit? He's like, what, do you have a stutter? I'm like, no, I just didn't know that you knitted. Shout out to Jen for that joke, by the way, if you're listening.
Is that Benson?
Yeah. No, a different Jen.
Oh.
we got fans, man. We got fans. What can I say?
It's the most popular thing.
It is, exactly. After that dad jokes, people just like, next podcast.
Off, yeah,
I notice our listening only goes to about 5 minutes and they're out. So.
It's all right.
Whatever. At least you're tuning in. Keep tuning in, folks.
They hear the dad jokes and then the dumb banter.
Right.
A couple, movie quotes.
Like, here's what we're talking about. Like,
that'll be a good leader.
No, I don't. Oh, funny you should mention that. So today, you guys are going to talk about the 4 styles, or I shouldn't say the 4 styles of leadership. I will speak to them through the franchise perspective, and Matt will speak to them through the franchisee perspective, right? Yeah, from what you see at the club level, I see it like from us to franchisees, because like we talked about, it's like us to franchisee to their to their team to the end users. It kind of like whatever culture that we set forth from us, hopefully trickles down all the way to the end user. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, sure.
So 4 types. The first one would be called the Abdicator, and this would be described as someone who it's a low challenge environment, which means you're not holding people accountable, and low support. So that, obviously you can think about just the description of an abdicator. It's not a great setup for leadership because you're not holding anyone accountable. And of course, if there's, it's sort of the old Peter Drucker, what gets measured gets managed. So if you're not holding people accountable and then you're also not supporting them, then what would you expect? What are you going to expect from that? Apathy, like people aren't going to care because, like, as a leader, you're showing the people that you're under your sort of umbrella that you also don't care. And I think about that from us to franchisee. I don't know a lot of franchisors this way, but I have heard stories of franchisors that you buy a franchise and they're basically like, you buy sort of a brand and a logo, but not much else. And then they're like, hey, awesome, best of luck to you. And they pat you on the back, right? So there's no challenge for you to like, hey, we have a 2-week call cadence, or you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Even the sales process might have been loose, where with us, it's 6 weeks. And if you miss a call or you're a little bit late, it's like, hey, man, like, this is not a good sign for you, right? We hold them accountable from the very start all the way through. And so if we were like low challenge at all, it would be like they could feel like, hey, we don't care. Obviously apathetic. And then low support would be, there's not a lot of resources for people either, right? And so I could see from franchisor standpoint, I have heard stories of franchises. I've never met anybody that does it that way. I can't imagine that would be a formula for success long-term. But yeah, so again, abdicator, low challenge, low support. What do you think of that on the franchisee level? So I'm a franchisee investor. Do you guys see that with your team?
On occasion, that's like a disengaged owner that's running their business on hope. I hope it works out, right?
Do you think that comes from the misconception at times that a franchise just runs itself?
Sure. I don't even think it's franchising. I think people getting into business. I think it's just kind of, if you build it, it'll come. And hell, you did it one time.
Yeah.
You built it and you're like, I'm good.
Yeah, 100% right. Yeah,
So,
I think we all fall.
I don't think it's just a franchise thing, but I mean, sure, you get people that are not engaged enough. From just speaking of our stuff, we have lots of resources. Maybe they're not showing their own employees all the resources they have available to them, or even coaching them on a daily basis. So, I mean, it happens. And it truly is running it on hope. And sometimes if you get like a baller in there, maybe
you might get lucky.
You might get lucky,
but
or
percentage-wise, it's not great.
Probably not.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably not the best way to go.
So that's the Abdicator. So don't be that person if you can help it. The next type of person, second, would be the Dominator. So this would be high challenge, low support. And I think from our standpoint, it would be very tightly restricted from a franchisor standpoint. Very challenging, like get out there, find your space. You have 3 weeks to do it, or we're putting you in default. Like, almost an onerous, over the top transactional relationship where you're sort of, you're really leveraging the relationship and your ability to drive franchisees where you want them to. But on the back end, there's no resources, right? So if I used real estate as an example, I'm like, you have to have a place, you have to have an LOI out in 2 months. But they're like, well, I've never done commercial real estate. Like, I don't even know where to look, right? How does that work? Well, if you don't have any support on the back end, how can you hold them accountable? So that would be like, well, you just got to friggin' figure it out. That's why you bought a business, right? And you look like what we do on the back end, we have really high support. So it's like immediately you're on a call with Jared. He lays out the whole, trajectory of what's going to happen between now and the time you get open. And then he introduces you to real estate brokers, and then we're off and running. So the Dominator would be kind of like a jerk, I guess you would say, where it's like, just friggin' figure it out and fix it, right?
I mean, that one just sounds like running people on fear,
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah,
like,
I totally
get
agree.
it done. You got this deadline, make it happen, right? And you see that, some people, if you're not engaged and willing to lean in, you're just challenging people, and that's your way to hold people accountable. And a lot of people don't respond well to that, right?
Yeah.
I've been running in fear here for about 15 years.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm not dominating you, Matt. Don't cry foul, you big baby.
This shirt, it says win on my face every day.
And you see the mice type underneath? It says you, Matt. Win, Matt. Fucker. not that I'm dominating. I'm just saying. But like Matt did point to me immediately. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I give you high support, Matt. High support. Just figure it out. But yeah, I think, look, that's like the Abdicator. It's like, okay, you're in your business, but it's like the seagull, right? You fly in, you swoop in, you poop on everything, and then you fly off. It's like, look, you can't be that person. Like, you can't have high accountability without high support, because maybe, like, again, when you think about the hiring process, maybe you got the wrong person or the right person, but in the wrong seat. If you're just leaning on them as hard as you can, maybe they can't do that job, right? So maybe you didn't follow a process to get there.
Most people break under that.
Yeah.
Just,
yeah.
There's nothing also on the flip side of that, like high push is also good, because people know you truly care. So
right.
There is a line, but
yeah, no, I agree. But it's better than Abdicator, where you just don't care and just no support. You're just like I
don't know which. Yeah, I think I'd rather have the other way.
Yeah, at least you know where you stand, right? And then like you may have to figure it out on your own. But from a franchisor standpoint, like we do provide a lot of support. So the next one is the Protector. I see this one most probably in your situation. And I'll say even in franchising, I've often stated this is our biggest mistake. So the Protector is low challenge, high support, right? And what that means is like you're really not holding people accountable, and then you're kind of doing everything for them. So as you know, from the franchisor standpoint, at one point we were like, well, we're going to just do it all just to make sure they're successful. Right. And we were doing it from a place of like, we want to win and we want to be the best franchise at support. But what ended up happening is we sort of shot ourselves in the foot, because it never gave the franchisees the chance to learn to do it on their own. So we've talked about this many times as like having a baby. It's like, oh, we conceived it, we labored it, we built it, labored it, whatever, and then we just hand it to them later, and they're like, I don't know what to do with this baby. It's like you never got a chance to actually learn to do the thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to, because we want you to do well, right? And we try to like protect you, but try to protect you as the owner, and that's just not the right move to make. because it didn't teach you how to hold your own people accountable or actually do the thing. We got it. We made you not have any hard conversations because we're like, get the hell out of the way.
Right. Move. We'll do it. Right.
Yeah.
And it, it muddies the lines. Like, obviously we never treated people's employees like they were ours because that's a big no. But at the same time, it's like, to your point, I mean, we offered a service where we would pre-sell your club on the phone. It's like, well, what happens after that if you don't learn how to sell on the phone? Because that's going to be part of your, job role as an investor or director or whatever from now till the end of time, really, like getting people to come in and see you so you can, be the answer to their problem.
100%.
So do you see that at the franchisee level? I know before we came to franchising, I used to see independent owners that would do that. This would be the person that would always get stuck with one facility because they always had their thumb on every single thing. And anybody that couldn't do it, they would just step in and do it themselves. They would never teach them to fish.
Yeah. I mean, we get lots of, people, they don't want anybody to make them feel bad about themselves. So they'll jump in, overprotect. I mean, that happens from time to time. Sure.
Yeah. And obviously the challenge to that would be long-term. You're never giving your team the opportunity to grow. And you're never giving yourself the freedom to maybe scale and go to a second
you won't be able
location.
to grow your business.
Exactly. Yep.
100%.
Yep. And you're inadvertently putting your thumb on the people that are working with you who are under your charge because like they never get a chance to grow because you just step in and fix everything. And it might feel okay, but eventually they're going to be like, oh, man, I'm not learning anything. And people like to be challenged in a positive way. Right. Yeah. So that with the Protector. The last one, this is the best one. It's called the Liberator. This is high challenge, but high support, right? So this would be, look, we have certain standards. I'm talking about this through the franchisor standpoint. We have really high standards. We have things that we're going to hold you to, that we expect you to do, but we have a ton load of resources right at your disposal so that you can do the things that we're holding you accountable to. We're not going to do it for you, but we're going to point you towards what you need to do, challenge you, vigorously to do the thing and do it well. And then there's a whole bunch of resources that are behind those challenges that you have access to that will allow you to accomplish what we're challenging you to accomplish.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously the best type of leadership for sure. I mean, in this lens, this one's cool we've empowered obviously people to do that when they grasp. These are folks, they see their business, they just start climbing that mountain really quickly. That's cool to see, right? They figured it out. They took the resources and accountability and support we gave them. They instilled that in their team. They leveled themselves up. Those are the fun ones for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously that's the four. You've got Abdicator, no bueno, Dominator, also a little bit toxic, no bueno, probably better than Abdicator for honest, but still not ideal. Protector, fine if you're a one person shop and you're going to do all the work, but eventually you're going to not be able to scale and you're putting your thumb on the people underneath. You're not giving them a chance to grow and then they'll get bored and move on. And then finally the Liberator, which is the best, which is you do challenge people, but you give them all the resources and tools that they need to succeed. And I think of someone like our number one franchisee right now, which is Trent, right? And we do group calls for franchisees so that they can share best practices. We're not talking right at people in a one-on-one setting always, right? And it was in a call like that. And of course, everyone knows he's the number one guy. And they were asking him, like, hey, what did you do to get to number one? And of course he was like, well, I just contacted my leads every day until they either said no or yes. And it's like, so obvious. Like, what else? It's like, no, just that. But then even more importantly, someone asked him, what do you wish you'd done differently in hindsight? And he's like, I should just work with my team more, right? I should have and what he's really saying is, again, in the Liberator, I should have held them more accountable to running the play with integrity. Could have held them accountable to it. And there's a lot of resources there, right? He knows that. He's one of those in their regard, right? He's one of the programming, all the education, everything that's behind it. But again, that's the number one franchisee in our system saying, hey, I wish I'd worked with my team more, which means I wish I had increased my challenge for them, right? Mm-hmm. Like I expect more from them, but I'm also teaching them. And that's where the support comes in. So, I mean, look, it crosses over from, again, just what we always talk about, us to franchisee, say investor level, investor to the team to the clients, right? You could extrapolate all these down to the clients almost, right? Mm-hmm. Think so?
Yeah, 100%.
Anything to add?
No, I think they're great, and we all should be liberators.
Yeah. I'm here to liberate you.
You should work on that.
What do you mean? Oh, I need to liberate. Matt, you're officially liberated. I want you to know you're now Matt has been liberated. Everyone, if you notice any changes in his behavior, it's because he's now been liberated. So you're welcome. But yeah,
Next
nothing.
week it's gonna say
Yes, I'm gonna get a new shirt, Liberator.
just win. I don't
Just
care
win.
what you do.
I don't care as long as you win, bitch. All right, guys. Well, maybe our shortest one ever, but not a whole lot to touch on. But I hope that helps you guys reframe leadership, and you probably recognize some flaws and some things that you do really well in those 4 styles. I certainly do. Clearly, Matt has a skewed vision of me and how I do it. But that's fair. So I mean, take an honest look at yourself, see if there's any areas you could improve on, and we'll continue to do the same.
Word.
Cheers.